Good evening, everyone, and welcome into Main Event Mixer episode 19. Surprise, guys! We figured we'd come to you live not once, but twice this week for Main Event Mixers. I, of course, am Mr. OTM, 1/3 of the On the Mark Wrestling podcast. And as you can see, it's just the Misters this evening. We got Mr. Cincinnati, one half of the Wrestling Junkies podcast, also with me. Sir, we had an eventful Saturday evening watching the Elimination Chamber. How are we feeling this Sunday?
That is the understatement of the fucking century, and you fucking know it. Man, what a night. I mean, that has to be, I don't know, that it's going to be hard to beat that as show of the year. I mean, obviously Mania is still on the horizon, and there's a lot that can happen there, but everything from top to bottom as far as presentation of that card, man, we have a lot to talk about. We got to get into this. Yeah.
It's crazy because there's certain things that happen on this show, like the Jade Cargill moment that we will get to, and the return of Randy Orton, that would headline most stories coming out of a PLE. But I think something big happened yesterday, right? I think
They pulled it off, man. They pulled it the fuck off, and yeah, no notes. It was masterful. Yeah.
It was, and we're going to get into that very shortly. But before we do, guys, show some love to our friends over at Gorilla Press Apparel. Eric, if you don't mind telling the listeners a little bit about what they're doing over there.
Yeah, so Gorilla Press Apparel is crazy fucking awesome. Shout out to Will Thompson and the crew. If you're a wrestler, referee, manager, promoter, you need some merch for those tables on the weekends, hit them up. Always taking commissions. Again, just incredible group of people. Old school designs with a new school feel. I'm telling you, I'm about due for a second Gorilla Press haul. So I'm definitely planning to text Will this week because I've got my eye on a hoodie over there and some 3/4 length stuff. So I'm fucking pumped. Gary J, also one of the hardest working wrestlers in the industry right now, has some great designs over there as well. Just a lot to love about what they're doing. They're Ohio based, so bonus points for that. Shout out to Gorilla Press, promo code MEM24, 10% off.
There you go. And if you're interested in getting yourself some main event merch, we have that available over on our podcast website, the onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com. And if you use promo code CHAMBER this weekend, you guys only have 5 hours left to do this. So use that promo code CHAMBER if you're interested in getting main event merch. Head on over to the onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com. And of course, guys, we currently sit at 57 subscribers here on the Main Event YouTube channel. We are on the road to 100. Mr. Cincinnati, how many people should you tell? What's the magic number?
Just one. Tell one person. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your situationship, tell your best friend, tell your cousin, tell your dispensary guy or gal in person.
There you go. Yeah, I like that one. I like when you added that on the Wrestling Junkies Day too. The dispensary person, that's something I can relate to. Actually, no, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm sorry. Well, I'm in Indiana. I can't say that. But hey.
Can't unring that bell.
Yeah, it's okay. We do it live, pal. But hey, let's get into it. Let's go in reverse order because obviously the moment that is taking up all of the headlines, you can't even avoid it even if you don't like professional wrestling right now. It's all over the timelines. John Cena has done the unthinkable. The man who was babyface for 21 years in the WWE has turned heel by essentially selling his soul, kicking Cody Rhodes in the gonads, and just beating him to a pulp to end the Elimination Chamber PLE. Mr. Cincinnati, there are not many moments that leave me speechless when I watch professional wrestling. This has to be one of the most well-executed heel turns of all time. Talk about an insane moment to close out that PLE.
Yeah, I wasn't watching wrestling when the Hogan turn happened, and WrestleMania X7, seeing Austin turn heel, that didn't feel like a heel turn in the moment when I watched that. This is something on an entirely different stratosphere here. Because there was just no warning of it, and that's what's so great about it. Even to the point that WWE probably swerved us by leaking Drew McIntyre as the winner, as far as putting out an incorrect match order that had everybody kind of buzzing. But you could not have gotten any better. We thought that the New Day heel turn was heartbreaking.
Right.
They said, "Hold my beer," and it's I'm speechless. I'm honestly speechless. I did not think that they would do it in the final year, but hindsight being 2020, why not? Why not?
I think you guys kind of talked about that too on the podcast. Just why not try it? Like, listen, a lot of us had thoughts of John Cena potentially turning heel, but I think all of us are realistic in those thoughts, and we're like, okay, they've had plenty of opportunities in the past to
Yeah.
turn John Cena heel, and they haven't done it. So why would they do it in his retirement year? This throws a wrinkle into everything because now I'm
Yes.
sitting here wondering, Mr. Cincinnati, if John Cena is just going to be a heel for the entirety of 2025. Like, that's a realistic possibility.
It is. I mean, and honestly, the signs were there. The signs were there. The throat slash motion, Rock doing this at Bad Blood, which we kind of is the Cena thing. The poster was the spoiler. I cannot remember a time that it's been that in your face and we still didn't get it. And if anybody knows of any other posters that have done that over the years, definitely comment them, just because I can't think of one right now. But I am absolutely blown away. It was effectual. It was heartbreaking. It struck every note that you could possibly get with a segment like that. That is the main event, because that gets a lot of criticism as well. So no notes.
Yeah, that's the thing too. When I started to see the card layout and how things were going, and then when they started doing the video package for the men's elimination chamber, I'm like, oh shit, they are saving The Rock for the very end, which means something big has to happen. But this wasn't the something that I thought was going to happen. And
No.
going off of what Robbie is saying here, the landscape of professional wrestling has changed forever. He asks, is this the best heel turn ever? Like you said, Mr. Cincinnati, I wasn't around for when Hulk Hogan turned, but for me, it's got to be the best. I don't know.
Robbie, there is a strong fucking argument for it, my friend. It is going to be hard to top this. I mean, even Rollins turning on the Shield.
Sure.
Yes, heartbreaking. Yes, impactful. It wasn't this. It struck such a chord. Man, honestly, I'm still that's a lot of it. I still can't believe that they did it. I mean, we knew that Cena was going to drive merch numbers for this final year, no matter what. It's kind of a given. But now we got heel Cena doing this, and the landscape has changed. At this point, Cody is not safe from a title switch here at WrestleMania. Not one bit.
No, he's not. Because right when that turn happened, I'm like, John has to win at WrestleMania now. At least in my opinion, I think he has to win because that's where the money's at. Cody going back on the chase. And then you still could have that rematch later on in the year and maybe position it to be in December. And that essentially is John Cena's retirement match itself in a title match against Cody Rhodes. Like, that's something I would be interested in. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and especially with the talk of because I think his final date kind of comes during the holiday tour, and it's not necessarily a PLE or a TV taping or anything like that. But it sounds like they are going to turn it into an event of that magnitude that will stream. So there are going to be a lot of eyes on Cena's final match, because I mean, he definitely seems like somebody that he's saying that he's done, and he's done. I think he's going to be in that Undertaker category of George to go away. He's not dressing up as Dead Man anymore. Like, let's leave the past in the past, and he'll rock a suit whenever he pops back up. But I don't know what to expect going forward here. I mean, there are more questions than answers, and I made sure to write a couple of these down. I think that they are worth the discussion here. So much like we saw with the post-show presser, basically gives that promo, says, I'm going in the chamber. That's that. I'm what's best for business. Left. We didn't hear from Cena again until his music hit last night. When will we hear from him now? Because he did the mic drop at the presser, and then as far as I heard, he was back overseas filming a movie and on a plane the second that he walked out of that presser. So do we really need Cena to explain or justify or do anything else to build this program and let Cody do the heavy lifting here?
No, that's a great question. I think the answer is no. I think the best way to go about this is just keeping John Cena off of television. Don't let him say a word. And once I saw that press conference after Elimination Chamber, that's when I realized that's probably the direction that they're going to be going in with this, because you still have The Rock there. He is the CEO of TKO. He's going to be in control on the road to WrestleMania. So you might as well just have The Rock do all the shit talking, put Cody through exactly what Cody went through on the road to WrestleMania 40. You're basically going to just see that similar build with The Rock and Cody, and then you just have John show up for the big time moments, because what was pissing people off, Mr. Cincinnati, going into this show was the fact that John Cena's retirement tour really isn't much of a tour. He's just showing up at big PLEs. That leans right into the heel turn, in my opinion.
Yes.
So that's where I stand with this.
Because John Cena is a guy that would make every house show, make every event, sign every autograph, stay until the lights go down. And he's made it clear he's not doing that anymore. And shout out to Chris Van Vliet here, because he asked the question during his interview with Cena a while back, where Cena talked about everything he had ready for this heel character, and it was basically going to be the exact opposite of what he stood for, as far as taking the easy road to get things here. Okay, yeah, he wasn't successful in the Rumble, so, and for canon purposes here, he makes a call to Dwayne and basically says something that says, okay, I'm entering the chamber and I'm going to be guaranteed this spot at WrestleMania. Everything about it is just perfect. It's just so fascinating, because we should have seen it coming, and now I would expect that we are going to see new theme music, whatever it was that he might have recorded in 2012.
Robbie,
I think is what we get here.
Sorry to cut you off.
And then whatever gear he had ready, I think, is what we see here. Entirely different presentation of John Cena in this final year. It is. I really didn't think that I would be into this, but I am so ready to see where this goes. I'm so ready.
No, I understand where you're coming from, because as everybody knows, I mean, you see me wearing a John Cena t-shirt right now. John Cena's my GOAT. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. So I'm a little conflicted in the moment when it happens, but there was a group about 4 of us watching it live here at my place, and I think we all collectively just started to get up out of our seats once we saw, and you could see it in the background, John Cena embrace with Cody Rhodes there at the beginning of this turn, and then the facial expressions just change completely, and just the roof comes off the place. My question, though, through this heel turn is, Travis Scott, why is he there? What was Travis Scott doing there?
It's he's Ralph Wiggum in the Groot Project. Like, that's what it is. I'm helping. Like, that is exactly what it is we're getting with Travis Scott here. It sounds like he's going to be involved going forward. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know. It's celebrity involvement is always going to be in the wrestling business. It is what it is. I don't know. I don't care for it. I don't necessarily think that they needed him at all in that. I think that it did diminish that segment in some degree. Not it's like that much, obviously, but he wasn't necessarily needed. He didn't do a whole lot. That he didn't really add anything to what was already a magnificent segment.
Yeah, I got my thoughts on that, but let me pull up Robbie's comment real quick. He said, I'm sorry for how good the moment it was, and it doesn't matter, but for the rest of eternity, we cannot watch that clip without seeing Travis Scott. Bro should not be there. And I kind of wanted to go off what you were saying, that celebrity involvement has been a part of, history in professional wrestling since the very beginning. I mean, you think of Cyndi Lauper at WrestleMania 1, Mr. T, Mike Tyson, just to name a few from back in the day. And you can even go to that Hulk Hogan heel turn. When he was a part of the NWO, Dennis Rodman was too. And Dennis Rodman was one of the most popular superstars in the NBA, a part of one of the greatest teams of all time. So Travis Scott being involved here, it doesn't make sense. No. But after seeing the reports like you alluded to, the fact that he apparently is training, maybe this could be something. Maybe Travis Scott is just going to be a famous lackey for The Rock's posse going forward. Yeah. It's not exciting. Okay. I know. I'm just trying to explain it.
It's fine. Like, I don't know. If you want to involve him in it, sure. I don't think that it needed to be that segment or that moment. That's not to say that if that is the overall end game, is to have him have some continued affiliation with The Rock. I just didn't think that he needed to do anything in that moment. That was a Cena Cody Rock moment. That's it. And it should have stayed that way, and they could have found other ways to bring Travis Scott in, have him show up, cost Cody a match or something, or there was other ways to go about it, I think, but is what it is. It still doesn't. I mean, I still enjoyed the segment. I just didn't need him to be there, and I'm always going to remember it without him there. As far as I'm concerned, it didn't happen.
No, I get it. We're picking hairs at this point because, like we said, we absolutely loved it. It was a well-executed heel turn, arguably one of the best of all time. And what Vogus said, that face smack going to be Travis Scott's finisher going forward. Yeah, Travis Scott laid it in to Cody Rhodes there. So at least he did that. But I think another thing that we didn't even touch on yet from this heel turn was Cody's just response to The Rock not being censored. He just told The Rock, go fuck yourself. And and they didn't, bleep it out like they did for the holy shit chant. So that felt like a step in a different direction too.
Yeah, no, that is, all by, I mean, it almost had to be that declaration because there had been so much controversy and concern over whether Cody would actually turn. And let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, you're going to plan to turn Cody in this moment on the road to WrestleMania.
Sure.
You couldn't have him just give a no that swerves eventually later. You had to hurt Rock where it hurts the most, his fucking ego. So if you're telling the most powerful man in entertainment to go fuck himself,
it's gonna happen.
Yes, exactly. That is an unequivocal no that you can't swerve later. So it had to be that definitive no, so that, much like Papa H did back in the day, could execute his plan B.
Yeah, no, well put for sure. And I agree with what Vogus is saying. That should just be the one and only F-bomb for this decade. It was perfect. We popped so hard here watching that live. We're like, did they really just, they did that? Okay. Robbie said, go fuck yourself was the chef's kiss. Obviously, people have been wanting swearing in WWE for a while. Moments like this are perfect for it. That's when it should be used. And I don't think I could have said it better myself. But from this heel turn itself, any other things you wanted to touch on?
So obviously the blood aspect is. Oh, hey,
he's in the other room, isn't he? How's the farming going, buddy? Good to see you in the chat.
How's the farming going?
Hey, hit that subscribe button while you're there. All right.
He's already subscribed though. He's subscribed in India. Yeah. No,
to OTM he did. I didn't know if he was subscribed to the main event.
Subscribe to the network if you haven't already. Please and thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
But the fact that there was color in this segment, because my guess was it was going to happen during Sammy KO, and then when it didn't, that should have sounded alarm bells. Oh, well. Still fucking great.
Oh, well, indeed, because I'm going to say it. It's my opinion, so fuck you if you disagree, but that's the greatest heel turn of all time. And that's
fine. It really is hard to beat it, and that might be worth circulating a poll of what because
we haven't been around as long.
Austin McMahon it didn't have that impact the way that they wanted it to, and because Austin wasn't fully invested in it, that definitely impacts it as well. But of those top ones, it's a hard one to beat, but I think that they did it. There was no trash being pelted, but it was still just.
And just think, Eric,
impactful as hell.
We have 6 weeks to talk about a John Cena heel run on his quest to become a 17-time WWE champion. This truly is a year unlike any other year. And to everybody that was bitching too before this, saying, oh, the WrestleMania bill is not that good. How do you think they're feeling now, Mr. Cincinnati?
Surprise, motherfuckers.
Surprise indeed. So, yeah, we probably could have talked an hour just about that heel turn, but there is a lot of
And we probably will. We both have to save some for our respective shows this week. I don't have the podcast head tomorrow, so I have to wait until Tuesday to talk about it. So, yeah, but I got thoughts. It's all right.
Yeah, so check that out. Tuesday, you're going to be talking about that then, correct? Also,
yes, Tuesday. Yes. Yeah, I got to shout out the Tribal Chief here. Yeah, absolutely.
We got to. Devin's a good brother.
Yeah, Tuesday for sure. It has to be. Yeah.
Robbie says, I dig the thumbnail and background. By the way, it looks clean. You know what, Robbie? I appreciate you, man. Tucky, my co-host, he taught me Canva. Mr. Cincinnati told me about Canva, and then here we are. We're just making our own thumbnails now. So we're professional over here, right?
Right.
Somewhat.
I'm also just going to do it again for Great Brown Hopes. Actually, let's talk about this real quick.
Okay.
No Roman last night. Your thoughts?
I was surprised because, obviously there was a lot of big moments that we talked about already, but that seemed like something that we needed, especially to see what direction Roman is going to be going in for WrestleMania. So I'm kind of curious when Roman is going to show up now. Were you surprised to not see him as well?
I was, because, and I know we'll talk about Jade too, but I thought if there was anybody that was going to show up and cause chaos within the match itself, it was going to be Roman and not Jade. Jade, I would have pegged for a post-match return, not the way that they did it. And that's all I'm going to say until we actually get into talking about it, because
that in itself, like I said, that could have been the best moment from the PLE, but John Cena just so happened to turn heel.
If they did nothing else,
Devin said Elimination Chamber was one of the best PLEs in years. I can't disagree with that comment.
Mania Night 2, though.
Last year's.
Ending that for like that. I mean, there was this was the most comprehensive card, I'll say, because minus the tag team match, everything had some additional layer that was lurking in the background. And it is very rare that we've had that. So, I mean, it is up there. I mean, that again, that might have to be another poll that we kind of look at towards the end of the year here. But
good shit.
They brought it. That's 10 toes down. Yeah.
For sure. So we talked about Roman and how he didn't show up during the men's Elimination Chamber. Let's get into that men's Elimination Chamber. Obviously, we know John Cena was the winner of this match. We did have 6 participants in this match, unlike the one that we're going to talk about at the end of this show. But we talked about the build going into Elimination Chamber and how stacked this field was. I thought they delivered. It wasn't anything outstanding, but it was exactly what it needed to be for the stories that they are going to be telling going forward. I mean, look at Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Yeah. Drew McIntyre being the first one eliminated. A lot of people probably didn't have that on their bingo card, especially those that believe every single report that they see online. Gotcha, bitch. He was the first out of the chamber. But overall, I'll let you just give me your overall thoughts on how this men's Elimination Chamber went.
So first of all, I got to point out, because it's a funny story, because I watched the chamber with Mr. Ramsey as well as my brother last night, and my brother made an offhand comment about the winner being revealed, and I had no idea what he was talking about. I hadn't read any reports. I was kind of in and out working on getting stuff in the smoker, and that's when he tells me, "Oh yeah, Drew was the rumored winner," like before the match happened, and I'm like, "Ah, fuck. All right, well." Then that kind of that'll drive like what I need to think about next when it comes to the sell your soul thing. But I really like the idea of Priest and McIntyre at WrestleMania here, because Priest was so mired in Judgment Day. Even the breakup just took entirely too long. That blow off with Finn happened 5 months after the initial turn at SummerSlam. I mean, they just kind of missed the boat with that one. But this is a perfect way to get Priest back on track. I mean, a couple of big men that are athletic as hell. Just let him go at it. Easy story. Super easy story.
It's not that exciting, though, in my opinion. I'm kind of with the majority of what I'm seeing online. It's just, it doesn't stand out on the card, for me at least personally. And I like Damian Priest. I like what he provides to the roster, and what Drew McIntyre has done recently has been fantastic. But I don't even know if stylistically that match is going to be good. But then again, I could be proven wrong here. But this Elimination Chamber had everything that you probably could have asked for, other than maybe the high-flying spots. That would be the only critique here, is they didn't really have many of those. But just everything that they were setting up throughout this entire match, Seth Rollins and CM Punk, that seems like it's not done, right? Like, that might be a match that we see at WrestleMania. What do you think about the whole Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns situation?
That is, I mean, I personally love when there's at least one triple threat match at WrestleMania, and a lot of that has to do with Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre, because you just let 3 guys go at it, and all different styles, all have some history of some kind, amazing chemistry. It's exactly what this is here. Now,
King's in the chat, by the way. Sorry to cut you off. Your King's in the chat.
Oh, look at this guy.
There you go.
Hi, buddy. Yeah, so I love the idea of this. They all have reasons to be pissed at each other. Punk eliminating Roman at the Rumble, Seth double stomping Roman into the dirt. Like, it's just they all have reasons to interact with each other and want their pound of flesh. So this is a great way to have a marquee match for all three of these guys, and it keeps all of them away from the world title picture until they absolutely need one of those three ready to go. And that's not always something that they excel at, is keeping these other top stars in marquee programs until you do need to heat them up for a title program.
No, I agree with what you're saying there, but my issue is, if that is the route they go, that triple threat between those three, I feel like that still overshadows some of the title matches that we might be seeing at WrestleMania. And then it gets down to the point of what actually is going to be your main event on both nights. And I don't know if you watched all the press conference last night, but Triple H kind of answered that question. And he said, no main event is set in stone right now. He goes, on the road to WrestleMania, people have to prove that they earn that spot. So that's pretty refreshing to hear. I don't know, how factual that is.
I'd take that with some salt.
Right, but
I mean,
it's tough.
Especially with how the show ended. Like, okay, name one match that closes night 2 of WrestleMania that isn't Cody Cena.
It has to be.
Name one. It's not going to have the same impact. Like, I think that one is set in stone. If I did have to pick a night 1 main event, I do think that it would be the triple threat.
I do too, and it's going to rub some people the wrong way, especially not getting a women's match in the main event. That seems to be another thing. But, I mean, is there a women's match on the card currently that's worth it? I don't think so.
Charlotte Tiffany? Let's see how tomorrow night goes first, because we do have Rhea versus Io. And there is still, and that's what's so fascinating about that story. And I know that we're going to talk about the Elimination Chamber a little bit here, but Bianca is kind of living in 2 different stories right now that we do need to kind of get some clarity, and I think that tomorrow does kind of help to put us in that direction. So I'll save the rest for later.
Dude, that's what's crazy. It's like we get to kind of do this all again tomorrow because they're loading up Monday Night Raw. Yep. I don't know if you saw it. There's 4 title matches on that card. 4. Yep. So you're gonna have a lot to talk about tomorrow and a lot to talk about on Tuesday on the Junkies Pod. So make sure you're following at Junkies Pod for more. Guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 100 subscribers. Mr. Cincinnati, what is that magic number?
Tell one person, just one. I mean, we acknowledge everybody out here that enjoys what we're doing here at the Main Event Wrestling Network. So, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends if you like what you see here. We, we like to have a good time. No bullshit. Just kind of shoot the breeze. Wrestling. What we like, what we don't like, how we do something different. At the end of the day, it's good fucking fun.
You got that right. I'm having a blast talking about this. We got 61 people hanging out with us, so shout out to everybody that's tuning in live. That men's Elimination Chamber, a very good one, and John Cena is headed to the main event as a heel against Cody Rhodes. I still am just shocked with those words coming out of my mouth, but it's a reality. But another fantastic match here at Elimination Chamber where Kevin Owens successfully defeated Sami Zayn in an unsanctioned match. They had the lighting and everything going on for this. And as we expected, the match did go outside into the crowd for a little bit. A lot of brutality in this match. I don't know how many tables they went through, but they definitely went over more than 4, I would say, because we had everything that you would have probably wanted out of this match. This is just something you don't see in WWE anymore, Mr. Cincinnati, what we got last night.
Yeah, no, this is a throwback to one of my personal all-time favorite matches, SummerSlam 2002, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, that unsanctioned match. It takes that type of personal rivalry for that kind of match to shine. I loved the production aspect of, they dimmed the lights, Rod Zapata's in a plain black t-shirt. They took the LED off of the ring post and just let the black steel ring post show. Everything that they did to make it to add to that ambient. I mean, from a kayfabe standpoint, I don't know how many people would think that, oh, okay, unsanctioned match how does that work? From a canon standpoint of, wait, so it doesn't count, or so why are we having anything? Like you can get down that rabbit hole, but no, I loved everything they did here. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, come on, they've been wrestling each other for over 20 years. No match that they have when they hate each other this much is the same, and they always find something different to do. And there were some callbacks to the initial Kevin Owens debut in NXT. Yep. I mean, bringing out the barbed wire chair that added something to the segment.
Chair.
Yeah. Yes.
Legit. Yeah.
Yes.
It was bad.
Yeah. And I loved that we got something like that, the barbed wire chair, because they saved blood for the Cody Rock segment. If there was no blood in that segment, this is a match that deserved blood. So it's nice that they found something else that they could add to that match to add to the brutality without necessarily getting color as a result. It's definitely a match of the year contender for me.
100%. Like, I had expectations, and they somehow still passed those expectations, because these two are the epitome of fight forever. I will never complain if you put Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn on the card. Put it on every single card. Yeah. It's going to be good, because like you said, every match is different, and the physicality had a purpose and reasoning behind it. It wasn't just physicality for the sake of having spots. Everything made sense because there was such a deep-rooted history between these two, and you talked about it on your guys' podcast too. When you bring families into it, shit's gonna get real. Shit got real. I can't think of this match being better than what we got last night.
No, there is nothing that I would have changed with what we got. Just again, and that is a testament to them. I mean, I continue to say it, they're doing the best work of their careers right now, and this is what we wanted from these guys the second they got to NXT.
Yep.
Now
we're getting it.
Ciampa and Gargano are next.
Yeah, they might be that next iteration of Fight Forever. I would love to see it, but let's go to Robbie's comment here. Okay, do we know if these two guys are alive? We don't, Robbie, because, oh my, I said this wouldn't be like the matches they had in the Indies. Oh boy, was I wrong. I am so glad they waited till after for the return of the Viper, Randy Orton. So let's talk about that, because I agree with what Robbie is saying. I probably would have hated if Randy would have got actually involved in this match. I like how they waited till after. They teased that outside spot of maybe hitting the pile driver out there. Yeah. Randy comes back looking as good as ever, and it seems like that is going to be the direction of Kevin Owens for WrestleMania. So how do you feel about Randy's return here, and the fact that he could be facing off against KO at Mania?
I am counting the days until Randy Orton punts Kevin Owens to pin him 1, 2, 3 at WrestleMania. That is the finish that we are getting because of the teaser we got last night. There is no way that it happens until that moment to end that match. Let's go. I'm so hyped for this. This is, I am hoping that this is, especially because this is a match that took, the pile driver took time away from Randy as far as him being off the road and off of TV. I'm hoping that this lights something in him that he's ready to snap, because I need heel Randy Orton too. And I'm hoping by the end of 2025 that that's where we're headed. And Kevin Owens could be a damn good start to that.
Kevin Owens, man, what he has done these past couple years in the WWE, everything he touches is just perfect. And this feud with Sami Zayn has been perfect. And it seems like that is going to be put on pause for now, because like I said, these two are going to fight forever. We're definitely going to get another Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn match, and it looks like we're getting Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. But another possibility that we discussed pre-show before we went live is who Sami Zayn could be facing, and it seems like that man may be Karrion Kross. How do you feel about that potentially being a match at Mania?
I love the idea of this. Karrion Kross has been one of the biggest question marks in the Triple H era as far as kind of what's been the plan with them. I mean, we thought we had a hot start. It was at 2022 when he came back. He was involved with Drew McIntyre. He was involved with Roman Reigns, and then we had AOP, Scarlett, Paul Ellering. Final Testament shows up, and then they had the WrestleMania match with the Pride, but it was fine. It was okay. Karrion Kross has been, and this is shout out to the podcast ad because he said this on a show a bunch. Everyone has that angel and devil on their shoulder. Karrion Kross is that devil for the WWE. He's had some involvement in some of the biggest moments of people kind of turning over to the dark side in some degree, that it's hard to ignore that he wants to corrupt Sami Zayn. Sami's not going to let that happen. So this is a way for Sami to have a compelling program because he will also bring that emotional vulnerability that's needed to confront the devil on his shoulder. But then, this also benefits Karrion Cross because this is a true singles program. This would be the biggest match of his career if he gets Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And this is something that could really be a shot in the arm for him creatively, because now that AOP and Paul Ellering are gone, he is a single star now. He's got the valet Scarlett, but it's all on him. So it's sink or swim, and I think that he can swim with Sami Zayn. It'd be a great match.
100%. I was gonna say I think he's swimming already. You kind of talked about it too. He has turned other people in the past. Like, you don't realize it because Karrion Cross spends most of his TV time in backstage segments, but he's the one getting in people's ears and making them change the way they think and act, and that in itself is wonderful. And what he's going to be able to do with Sami Zayn, sign me up. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But Great Brown Hope says Ciampa and Gargano rivalry will make them more interesting to the casual fans. They have better chemistry when they fight each other as opposed to fighting together. And I would agree with that. I think that we probably enjoy Gargano and Ciampa one-on-one rather than together. But it's still good together. I enjoy DIY.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lengthier DIY, and I think a lengthier DIY run than we've seen in NXT, and especially because there is this renewed emphasis on the tag team division, that they're gonna get a great marquee multi-man match for the tag titles. I'm hopeful it's a ladder match, but I think it's just me being preconditioned to ladder matches at WrestleMania. But either way, SmackDown doing a great job of building that tag division. Raw, that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah, that is a conversation for another time indeed. Great Brown Hope says, or the punt makes it a knockout win over KO. I see.
That's a fun finish right there. All right.
I see what you're doing there, Great Brown Hope.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Great Brown Hope, make sure you check out him and Tino's conversation. They just talked about WWE Elimination Chamber over on Tino's Time channel, so make sure you head on over and check out their thoughts as well. But Mr. Cincinnati, you good to move on to the next one here?
Let's do it.
Let's get to the match that, you know what, it was okay. It was fine. I get why we did it. Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton, they defeated Nia Jax and Candice LeRae in tag team match, and this was essentially just a showcase for Trish to get on the card in her hometown. But I don't know if you noticed it, but it seemed like the crowd cared more about Tiffany Stratton than they did Trish Stratus.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's unfortunate because this is kind of a dream team tag team here, and especially the fact that we're celebrating 25 years of Trish Stratus. We knew they want her involved as much as possible during this year. That's just kind of how WWE operates anymore. And especially when you know that you're doing a show in Toronto, you're doing what you have to get her on the card. It was a fun match. I wish they would have gotten time to let it breathe, but it was a very packed card that this was the one that I think the people were going to fatigue from quicker than the others. But no, I enjoyed it. Really had a fun time watching it. Sounds like, or at least based on the finish, I think Tiffany and Nia, excuse me. I think that this rivalry is over and time for them, Nia and Candice, to move on and find something to do. With Bianca and Naomi moving their way out of the tag team division, may not be a bad idea for Nia and Candice to take that spot for now. Candice reigning, defending WWE Women's Speed Champion, but they don't acknowledge that on TV or try to give her. I mean, I think that would add a boost and give her a little bit more credibility of, okay, this, for his, whatever you think of the concept of Speed as a whole, it's still a championship that's not being shown on TV. But then we get again into the too many belts conversation. But no, I think that Nia and Candice run the tag division for a little while. Nothing wrong with it until they're ready for one of them to have another title program of some kind. Chelsea always needs challengers.
Yeah, and I'm not really sure what they're doing with the mid-card titles right now. In my opinion, it's not the greatest of starts with both of those champions, but time will tell with them. Hopefully, there's some kind of WrestleMania program that's set up for Lyra and for Chelsea. But I agree with you. I think Nia and Candice are going to be just fine. Them in the tag team division makes a lot of sense. And I also think there's another tag team that can emerge in the women's tag team division. We kind of noticed it in the women's chamber, which we'll talk about here in a second, but I think Alexa Bliss is headed back to the Wyatt Six. So if you put her with Nikki Cross, in a tag team. We've seen it before. They're former champions. I think that women's tag team division gets even better with those two.
Yeah, it's the perfect place, and that's what. And podcast dad also kind of had Alexa as a dark horse in the women's chamber because she didn't have a really clear path to WrestleMania or anything really, because she hadn't, other than the qualifier, it had been kind of a quiet return as far as coming back from the Rumble. But no, put her with the Wyatt Six, let them continue that story. I mean, she's doing the Abigail DDT, which I love that finisher. No, that'd be really cool. Love to see them back together again, especially now that they have this darker undertone. Let's go.
Could be a lot of fun for sure. And I would say that the women's tag team division could use all the tag teams in the world because NXT has, it seems, a bunch. So the main roster definitely could benefit for having those two new teams in that tag division. But Robbie says people are hating on this. Yes, it wasn't magical, but people act like the match sucked. It was decent wrestling for what it was worth. Didn't mind it, to be honest. Someone like Candice got to show off. And I think that's well said, too. Because if you did, I don't know if you got the chance to watch back this pay-per-view. I did. The match really was okay. But I just think it's just the time frame and the layout of the card. We talked about it on the Mixer, I think, yesterday, or you guys did. There has to be a bathroom break match, unfortunately. And that might have been it.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against the quality of the match whatsoever. It was a good match. It was affected by everything else that was around it, as well as the placement on the card. It just is, it is what it is. But yeah, I've not done a second watch of this match yet. But no, in the moment, I liked it.
It was fun. I think that's the best way to put it for sure. It had its purpose. But Robbie did ask just a bit of a side question. What are they going to do with Alba Fire now that Isla Dawn has been released? That's a tough question.
Honestly, give me Alba Fire. At this point, now that Isla Dawn is gone, I would love them to just make her Kaylee Ray again. Yeah. Make her Kaylee Ray. Let her be that former NXT UK Women's Champion and let her go. Give me Kaylee Ray versus Lyra Valkyria.
Ooh,
a true intercontinental title program. Something that's got a little Iron Woman match action. There's a lot of things you can do. Yeah.
UK history there too as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Oh yeah. So, okay. Let Mr. Cincinnati cook. There's your answer, Robbie, and I'm sure you're gonna like that answer too, because Alba Fire is talented, and it has to be tough when you lose one half of the tag team, which is your identity. But time will tell with that one. We got one more match to talk about. We're not going to talk about the match itself quite yet, because what happened before the women's elimination chamber was absolutely epic. Jade Cargill returns and put a whooping on Naomi, absolutely brutalized her, took her out of the elimination chamber, and we only had 5 people competing in this match. Mr. Cincinnati, tell me the emotions that were going through your head here, because I was just excited watching Jade do her thing.
Dude, I've never jump scared while watching wrestling, but once the storm hit, I did actually have that jolt kind of moment of really we're doing this now, and I love that Liv, Naomi, and Bianca all wearing white. Jade comes back wearing black. We knew that it was going to be one of these 3 in some capacity. Something was going to happen. Would not have pegged that it was going to happen before the bell even rung. My first guess, once her music hits, is that before that door closed, she's like, "Nope, I'm in the chamber." And we'll eventually get to what I think happened, and basically make it a 7-woman match. Which would have been a fun little touch, but brilliant execution. We get the swerve, beats the brakes off of Naomi, who looked genuinely surprised to see Jade. As far as I don't know what to think here, but not in the way of I did this and kind of oh shit, I gotta run for the hills. Let's talk about Bianca here.
Okay.
So Bianca keeps that fur coat on until this attack happens. And I know I'm looking at breadcrumbs here. It just seems that we have to start doing that now when it comes to talking about WWE. Is just that everything has meaning now, which I love, and it creates intrigue. But puts on what I think is an incredible performance in the pod, breaking down and seeing Naomi get attacked. Naomi's out of the match. One less person for her to have to deal with, and she did not have to bear the responsibility of taking out Naomi in the Elimination Chamber. It just, but we know she's behind it. And I want to talk about her appearance on the post show where she's wearing that same coat, sunglasses, like looked relatively unbothered at the fact that Naomi had been attacked. Like she played the like we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Demir, like I don't know what happened, and I my heart like kind of walking that line, but it's gonna get dark real quick, and I can't wait. Heel Bianca in 2025, this is what she needs right now. She's done everything she can as a babyface, including a run in the tag team division. Like it's time. So let's kick it off with a bang.
So you think Bianca is actually the one that attacked Jade Cargill?
I do.
See, I see a lot of people saying that same thing, and maybe I'm just not thinking critically, but I don't know, because Bianca is going to be involved in that title match against Rhea Ripley. We already know that. So they would have, like you said earlier, 2 stories going on for Bianca Belair at the same time. I feel like that can get kind of confusing. So maybe I'm just being naive to this and thinking it's Naomi and that's the singles match we get at WrestleMania. And hell, that's still probably what we are going to get is Jade versus Naomi at Mania. But I don't know, man. It just seems like a lot. But I get what you're saying because Bianca sold that very well.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that we might be a little bit early in talking about this, but I think that we should kind of get our initial thoughts on this because tomorrow night we've got Rhea versus Io, women's world title. Both of them came out after the Chamber, and fantastic visual because especially given the NXT history that those 3 have, they will all forever be intertwined, and that's kind of how it needs to be. So do we see some involvement of Bianca or Naomi or somebody that kind of adds that wrinkle to this match that helps to kind of clear up the waters of Bianca's going to go here, women's world champion's going to go here?
I think we're going to get a triple threat with the Rhea Ripley, Io, and Bianca Belair. I just don't see Bianca getting involved in the Jade of it all. I think you could do the first couple weeks here after the Elimination Chamber. After the Elimination Chamber, you can have Bianca kind of squash that beef that she has with Jade and Naomi, and then she can move her attention on over because I think there's a legitimate chance that Io Sky wins tomorrow night. I would not count her out. She could win that women's title, and that's how you set up the triple threat because Bianca Belair earned it by winning the women's Elimination Chamber. Rhea Ripley's going to get a rematch. So there you go. Yeah. There's your triple threat at WrestleMania. So that's what I think is going to come out of all this.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, no, I would definitely put it at like 70-30. Like that's kind of how split I am. Like I love Io. I want to see her do something so impactful at WrestleMania. She has earned it. Like she has quietly just been one of the all-stars, especially of 2024. I mean, just I don't know. I really want a WrestleMania moment for her.
You know what sucks though? And we've talked about this. We've talked about this before on past streams. Is their roster's just so loaded, and only so many mouths can be fed, and that's what's unfortunate about all of this. Like the WWE is so top heavy right now to where their mid card could probably be main events in most other companies. Let's be real. Look at the mid card on SmackDown. You got LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Carmelo Hayes. And then on Monday, you got Shinsuke Nakamura too. Like these are former world champions involved in this scene. So it's just crazy right now, the depth of the WWE divisions. But let's talk about the Women's Chamber itself because obviously Bianca Belair is the one to win this. For me personally, I thought this was probably the best Women's Elimination Chamber match that I have personally seen. Now, granted, there hasn't been that many. I believe this was only the 7th Elimination Chamber for the women, but I want to give some shine to Liv Morgan in this matchup because if you want to talk MVP work rate, Liv Morgan has done that this past calendar year. I don't care what people in the comments have to say. If you don't like Liv Morgan, I understand that. Not everybody is going to be a fan of everyone. That's fair. But you have to respect the work that Liv Morgan put in on this Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah, no, she's leveled up in the last year for sure, especially coming back from the shoulder injury. They trusted her in the main event spot, and the Dom pairing made it even. I mean, there's no way. What more better way to get nuclear heat than to put her with Dom, which turns her against Rhea, who we had already been ready to embrace. Like that natural turn was ready to happen. We just needed a reason for it to happen. Dom gave us a reason. I mean, he's Eddie Guerrero, but Gen Z.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
But what were your overall thoughts on the women's Elimination Chamber match?
man, this was. I mean, this was the fucking blast to watch. I gotta say. I mean, everything from the Jade spot, and then Alexa looked fantastic. I mean, this. I really want to see them find something for her to sink her teeth into. I would get the impression that that'll be something that happens after WrestleMania. Just kind of on initial guesses here. It sounds like they're teasing some Wyatt Six stuff, but I think they need to ramp it up sooner or later. But yeah, no, Bayley also looked phenomenal in this match. I mean, all the stuff that she did in February alone, not just wrestling, but all the All-Star Weekend activities and just, wrestling in NXT as well. Like another MVP of the month, if you had to give a wrestler of the month accolade. But no, this was some fun wrestling to watch. Yeah, I would say that this is the best women's chamber match ever. From a wrestling standpoint, as well as having that storytelling drama that impacted the match as a whole. And there's a winner where there's going to be some additional discussion about how she won with only 4 other people to beat instead of 5. So
yeah, I know there's a lot of people that were kind of disappointed that they didn't replace Naomi in that situation, but it really didn't bother me that much. And to Robbie's point, he was a little let down on how little Bayley and Rox went at each other. And I think that might have been intentional because I don't know if you were able to catch OTM last week, but I gave my full WrestleMania card. And not to brag, but everything that I said on the podcast is coming to fruition. I said Drew was going to face off against Damian Priest. I said Karrion Kross, Sami Zayn. I said Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. I can go on and on, Mr. Cincinnati, but I could put myself over another time. This match itself, like you said, was just great from top to bottom. And Roxanne Perez, we need to talk about her because the fact that this is, I believe, her first main roster PLE appearance, and she shined tremendously in this one. I could be wrong on that, but that's my
She was in the 2024 Rumble. But this was her first Elimination Chamber match. Yeah. I really did kind of want to see as a dark horse Roxanne get that win. I think having Rhea versus Roxanne, I believe that my exact words were she's played a cocky little shit for the last year and a half, that Rhea humbling her to teach her a lesson at WrestleMania sets her up for a comeback next year. So no, but I am really excited to have her on the main roster. The fact that she's only 23 years old means that realistically we live in a world where we could get 20 years of Roxanne Perez, somebody that, like, Charlotte's the queen now, but we might be saying the prodigy all hail by the time that Roxanne's career is said and done.
Like we saw Trish in her 25 years. We might be having Roxanne Perez in 25 years with one of our daughters in the main event of WrestleMania. Hey, who knows? I'm just putting it out there, all right? Please, I don't have a significant other or anything, so I got a couple steps to get to. So if anybody knows anyone that's single, Mr. OTM is single, by the way. But hey, Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley. I don't know how people could be mad at that match. Let's just assume that Io's not going to get involved. Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley is something I think they should have visited a little sooner, because if we go back to a couple Royal Rumbles ago, these were the last 2 women standing, and that's when I was thinking, okay, maybe next year you can have that WrestleMania match. They kind of missed the timing, I think, but we're still getting it here in 2025, so you can't be that disappointed.
Yeah, the match is a WrestleMania match. I'm just not crazy about the fact that we're basically getting only a 2-month build. This is one of those dream matches that just has not happened yet, and they've run in the same. They've basically been about on the same rosters at the same time, Raw and NXT, over the last 7-8 years at this point. And I don't know if it's by design or happenstance, but they've been kept away from each other for the most of it. For a lot of it. And they teamed up at the Chamber last year, but even when we think about Rhea and Becky Lynch, even they had interactions throughout that year to build to that match last year. We haven't seen any of that from Bianca and Rhea. that's a match at WrestleMania that deserves that year-long fuse and not just 2 months.
Well, my counter to that would be that's why you do the triple threat, because there's not a deep-rooted story with just
Sure.
Bianca and Rhea. You insert Io, at least you got some history with Io and Rhea, and then just coming together to have a match. So that's why I think the triple threat makes the most sense. I'm going to sit here right here and call it. We are going to get Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. But I'm sure we will have plenty of main event mixers on the road to WrestleMania and for WrestleMania weekend. There's a lot of fun stuff coming up here at the Main Event Wrestling Network, and I can't wait for you guys to check it all out. But one last comment here from Robbie Collins before we close the stream. He said, Rox is putting in the work, appearing on 3 shows, a pay-per-view in 1 week is seriously impressive for someone so young. Yeah, can't said it better myself. So, Mr. Cincinnati, give me a letter grade, a percentage of the Elimination Chamber. Like, for me, I would say it's a 95, a strong A. It was one of my favorite PLEs in a long time.
I'm gonna go solid 98. I mean, that was an A+ show, man. Enjoy. I fucking loved it. I fucking loved it. And the fact that we have this strong card going up against, and we've got AEW Revolution next week. I'm just gonna throw it out there real quick. Yeah. I'm really excited for that one too. So yeah, these are both, I think, going to be really, really exciting times in wrestling right now. But yeah, road to WrestleMania, it's a rocky one, that's for sure. But
I get what you did there.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch, but good to see you. Thank you as always for having me.
Of course, you're my go-to guy if I got to get somebody to come on one of these main event mixers. You know, us hosts, we got to stick together because we have to deal with people on a weekly basis. It's not easy. It's not.
Every once in a while, I love the podcast, Dad, but I need a break. It's all good. This is a fun one.
Yeah, it was fun indeed. So if you guys enjoyed it as well, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 100 subscribers. As Robbie Collins said, good show, guys. He's giving it a 9.5 out of 10, a show that will be remembered forever indeed. And thank you, Robbie, for the compliment. Also, don't forget at the onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com, if you use promo code CHAMBER, you got a couple hours left to save some money on main event merch. And Mr. Cincinnati, why don't you tell the fellas about Gorilla Press apparel?
Yeah, Gorilla Press is the shit, plain and simple. Ohio born and bred. Incredible dudes. Shout out to Will and the crew. Use promo code MEM24, gets you 10% off site wide. Got some solid merch there. I mean, I got a hoodie and 3/4 length that I got my eye on. So definitely due for another haul, but go show them some love. We got some new designs that are going to be hitting that stores soon. Little insider there, but yeah, shout out to Gorilla Press.
And you guys got 4 shows coming up this week. Why don't you just tell the rundown a little bit what you got planned for the Junkies this week?
Yeah, so with the podcast that's still coming back from Mardi Gras tomorrow, it is me, myself, and I. So I'm going to be joined by a friend of the show, Scott Hensley. We're going to be talking Scenic City Rumble coming up this upcoming Friday and Saturday. Hell of a weekend of wrestling in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Again, follow us on X at Junkies Pod. We're going to be breaking down Elimination Chamber. We're going to start talking the road to WrestleMania. Official AEW Revolution predictions are coming as well. And we've also got Matt Kelly, one half of the WrestleMats podcast, joining us this Tuesday. So come hang out. Follow us on X and TikTok at Junkies Pod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell your friends.
Exactly. And you know I'll be there. I'll be in the chats tuning in every single episode this week. I'm always live for the Wrestling Junkies podcast. But if you want to be live for the On the Mark Wrestling podcast, we should be live Thursday. We haven't planned it out quite yet. I know Tuck's busy this time of year, so if you want to check out that show, just follow us at Pod on the Mark. And don't forget to follow the Main Event Wrestling Network on all socials, guys. We just reached 1K on X, so thank you for getting us to that milestone. We are over 1K on TikTok, guys. Slowly but surely, we are growing here together. We cannot do it without your guys' support. Hashtag main event moves are happening here in 2025. So for Mr. Cincinnati of the Wrestling Junkies podcast, I am Mr. OTM of OTM, and we will talk to you guys next time on the Main Event Mixer.
Tucky, join the group chat.